Hi everyone, my name is Sarah and welcome back to Everyday Consent. Today we have another consent chat with my good friend Aaron.
Hey everybody, I'm Aaron. I've known Sarah for 5 or so years. I'm a white, male, mostly straight, kind of poly software engineer here in the Bay.
What does consent mean to you?
Consent is how you ensure happiness. Consent is a way to establish boundaries for yourself and to respect boundaries that other people have established, but the point of it is not the boundaries. The point of the boundaries is so that everyone can be happy. Exploring within boundaries and pushing boundaries are both important, but a person pushes their own boundaries as a form of experimentation. Maybe something beyond your own boundaries is something that would make you happy or be fun, and sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't, but again, consent is what helps you ensure that your own boundaries, whether you are staying safely inside them or trying to push them, are respected by other people.
Do you have any favorite ways that you've learned to give or ask for consent?
Yeah, I think the most fun and successful in terms of making sure that everyone is happy after a consent conversation has happened is basically saying, I would like to do this, are you okay with that? And that has worked very well both for me asking for consent from other people and for other people asking for consent from me. I'm not a fan, personally, of would you like to do X?
Really, why?
It feels less spontaneous and I'm really into you when I ask someone, would you like to do X? Or when someone asks me, would you like to do X? That doesn't give me any information about how much they want to do that.
Okay.
And so if someone comes up to me and says, I would like to kiss you, is that okay? I now know their intentions. I now know how much they are interested in doing this thing, and then I can evaluate my own internal state and decide whether I'm in the same place as them. I think the statement of intent and then the request for permission is a much more, it's sexier. It feels way better to have someone walk up to you and be like, hey, I want to kiss you. Is that okay? Like, that's awesome.
What was one of your favorite moments of consent in your life?
I guess I've got 2 stories for that. This one involves you.
Oh, yay!
So, round about that time when we were sleeping together, a mutual friend of ours and I had a conversation one evening in which it became clear that both of us were kind of interested in each other, but also at kind of weird places in our lives where sleeping together or dating or doing anything was maybe not the best idea, but also a thing we were interested in. And anyway, a few days later, I get a chat message online from you,
me!
which was, and I almost quote, "Aww," to which I respond, "What?" Followed immediately by, insert name of our mutual friend, just asked me if she can invite you over for tonight. This was at like 2 a.m. or something like that. And then promptly about 30 seconds later, I get a corresponding chat message from her, which was, hey, do you want to come over tonight?
So what had happened was our mutual friend asked me if it was okay if she pursued it, and we had a very casual relationship, so I was completely fine with it. And I was like, oh yeah, totally, that's totally fine. In fact, let me help you set that up.
Pretty much exactly how it went down.
You're welcome, by the way.
Thank you.
What did you like about that?
I like that story partly because it involves you and is therefore inherently hilarious. I also like that story because it's consent in a way which we don't talk about a lot. Okay. I think a lot of the time in discussions about consent, we talk about in the moment, people asking, oh, is it okay if I kiss you like this? Is it okay if we have penetrative sex? Is X, Y, or Z okay? And this was, in the height of college hookup culture, a much simpler but still just as expressive consent chat of the form, do you want to hook up with me?
Yeah.
And we both pretty much knew what we meant by that, and then like we talked once we were over there, but it was just very straightforward. It was very expressive, and very simple. It was like, would you like to do this thing? Yes. Awesome. And that worked out well. The more recent story, this was on, I guess, what my current girlfriend and I consider the day that we started dating. After a long night of dancing, when it certainly seemed like we were into each other, but kind of hard to tell. We were standing outside the dance venue and like hugging goodnight, and the hug goes on a little while longer, and just like still kind of standing there. And at some point, I don't even know how long we've been standing there, I was just like, I'd like to kiss you now. Would that be okay? And she's pretty short. She comes up to about here on me, and she just goes, and it was one of the most adorable things I've ever seen in my entire life.
So what did you like about that experience then?
I mean, it harkens back to what we were talking about just a minute ago, where I asked for consent in the way of, this is a thing that I would really like to do. Is that okay? And then her response was essentially very yes. So I liked that about it.
Have you found that consent works for you differently in different kinds of relationships?
A little bit, yeah. The lady that I was talking about earlier, that I've been dating for a few months now. In that relationship, we've pretty clearly established the kinds of things that we're into and the kinds of things that we like to do with each other. And so there's not a lot of verbal question asking in any given moment, because it pretty much just works.
Okay.
Relationship with a different lady, she had much stronger, stricter boundaries and higher walls around sex in general.
Okay.
And so in that relationship, I tread very carefully. And pretty much every interaction, even every moderately sexual interaction, involved lots and lots and lots of verbal communication. And both work.
Yeah.
Like either communication style would not work with the other person. Absolutely no. But that is no way of saying that either one is better than the other or more valid. And in the ideal world, we would all just have that decent human being heading, and everything would be fine. And in the absence of that, I don't really know how to establish community guidelines about exactly what is or is not appropriate in a given space.